Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Virche Evermore. Well, epic Lycoris, whatever. You know, the Virche fan disc. I don't know, guys. We'll get into it. Say I'm just gonna Virche fan disc. I don't. You know what we're playing at this point. I don't. Anyway, in Mathis's route, which is, the reproduction of the ending. And we'll see. So far, I mean, again, I can absolutely see if you played the game recently and then you got here where there might be a little bit of difference, but if there's not too much, you're like, I'm reading the same shit over, because that would normally annoy me. But I was thinking about it last night more, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I said the exact same thing in the last part, but it doesn't bother me because I don't remember shit. So it's like a refresher for me. But I mean, it's still like, was it necessary? What were they thinking when they did that? Were they like, oh, we'll just a slight alternate, or well, we can fill up some time and then everyone will think they're getting a ton, but we really just only have to write 2 or 3 things and then jam it into stuff we already, you know what I mean? Like, what were they really thinking? I don't know. But anyway, whatever. It is what it is. After finishing my conversation with Jean, I can only hope it starts picking up though, because at this point it's kind of dragging, for even though it's like I don't remember everything, so it's a decent refresher. Okay, but it's but also I know in my head that we've done a majority of this, and I know where we're. So let's just get there and get the difference in the ending instead of dragging it out more. You know what I mean? I don't know. That seems so strange to say. I don't know. Anyway, after finishing my conversation with Jean, I headed toward the attic to rejoin Mathis. I've gathered some extra things I need, like daggers and the tools to maintain them. So where's the rest of the novel? Right, I'll bring it right away. I watched Mathis, smiling to myself as I saw how he was fidgeting, and after taking the papers that were put away in his desk, I handed them to him. That's awfully thick, although I suppose they won't get in the way. As he reasoned to himself that it was all right to carry the papers with us, Mathis flipped through the sheets. But then he came across a particular page. His eyes continued to stare at it as he held his breath in surprise. Mathis, is something the matter? Wondering what could be wrong, I looked at the page from the side. It was a conversation between the protagonist and the heroine after they resolved the incidents in the town. There was an event I didn't know about added on. Thank you for being with a person like me. Your beautiful words and heart gave me the courage I needed. I love you as a woman, Spacey. So please, from now on, let's have adventures together. Please stay by my side forever. Huh? Is this what I wrote before leaving the mansion? It seemed he had no recollection of this. The Mathis who stood right in front of me muttered, at a loss for what to make of this. I read over what it said one more time, and suddenly began to shed tears. If he really meant what he said, and his use of love was a confession to me. Flashback to our first CG we ever got of him. Oh, and flashing back to other CGs in the, first game. I'm so happy. But even more than that, I'm sad that I wasn't able to hear it from him directly. I mean, they're adding a little angst and stuff, so but it is one of those, okay, but it's not, you're adding new moments into, the original ending, but, if you're not going to change the ending completely, okay, we're adding new moments and then we're going to add it as now it's going to be a completely different ending. If they're going to make the ending basically the same with just a little more stuff to it, you know what I mean? Then it's yeah, but then I feel like I'm wasting my time a little bit. You know what I mean? I shouldn't say that because it's like you get more time with your love interest, and maybe it's because Mathis isn't my favorite. I liked him as a character, but he's not my favorite, so maybe starting with him was not the best idea. But also, like, to tell my kittens, like, did the encore stuff to get it out of the way. You kind of want to get that out of the way, and also, I hate to say Mathis, but you know what I mean? Like, he's a good character. He's a good character, but he's not a love interest to me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to romance him. They're cute together. I don't mind it, like, on its own, but it's not going to be like, oh my God, I loved it. Like, if we did Cyan first, I'd been like, I don't care if we're repeating everything. I'll repeat it all over and over again. You know, so fair, that could be why I feel this way too. But I don't necessarily mind rehashing kind of leading up to. But you know how, like, sometimes when you get to an ending, there's two choices, and choice A is go, okay, path A, and choice B is ending B. And everything leading up to it's exactly the same. That's what I'm hoping this is going to be. Everything leading up to, they've added some different nuances in here. They've added a little bit extra, could kind of pad out the runtime. A lot of it's similar, if not exactly the same. At some moments, I'm like, I definitely remember this happening. It feels very deja vu-y. And other ones, I'm like, I don't remember this happening. I don't remember us having a conversation with Lucas about Mathis having a split personality. Don't remember that. You know what I mean? Maybe it happened and I just forgot. I don't know. So, fine. But I really hope when they get to the point of like, okay, now we're going to do the ending, it's not exactly what we already experienced with just a couple added lines or scenes in there. Because it's like, that would be anticlimactic. And I would be like, really seriously, what was the point? If it's completely different, I mean, obviously, I think the one that they're leading toward was the one where we were like locked in the lab. And like we powered through. I don't remember, maybe not. I don't remember which ending that was. I remember that ending, you know, but I thought there was, I mean, obviously there were bad versions of it or whatever, but I don't want to go through that whole thing again. You know what I mean? But being locked in the lab and having it be totally different, it's not going to be I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I guess I'm really hesitant at the moment being like, okay, how are they going to make this worth your while if you just played the first game and now you're rereading the same thing, you know? I don't know. So anyway, I'm surprised you're so happy over a confession from me when I was so dumb and docile. Huh? I looked up, hearing a sharp tone. There, I saw Mathis's scowling face. He's the worthless person who let Camille die. You were a child at the time! I mean, I do like this sprite version of Mathis. He's very beautiful here. You know what I mean? But not even realizing his killer came back, he was living like a clueless, spineless coward. Mathis violently threw the papers on the desk and grabbed me by the neckline of my shrug. Okay, because again, I remember being locked in the basement or in the lab, and like Mathis always trying to poke through, but I feel like that seemed bad. And then there was the one, which it might have been a spurn off from that, it probably was, of like him Jean dumping himself, Camille, into Mathis thinking he's Camille and we're Rosalie, and we're like, yep, sure, because I get to be with Mathis, and it was like, that's fucked up, and I'm pretty sure in one of the endings he killed us, but like, whatever. That was a bad ending. And as if spitting out all the emotion he had in him, but I don't know if, again, I can't remember how they did it. Was it like, that's the ending, and then there's bad endings off of that, and then that's the main ending? Like, where we're in the lab, or was there anything else? Like, you know what I mean? Like, God, my brain really is a sieve, so redoing it's really not that bad, to be fair. Anyway, and as if spitting out all the emotions he had in him, I've never even seen you smile like that. How can you possibly smile at the words of someone like him? Are you jealous? Especially when we're so much more capable of protecting what's important to us. Mathis, his words, they were meant to criticize his own self, whom he thought of as a completely separate person. I had no idea what about my tears made him so angry. But grabbing Mathis's arm, I desperately tried to form the words I wanted. Every Mathis Claude is precious. Even if the Mathis of the past never comes back. And then, But still, even if that's true, I don't want to forget the one who wrote such beautiful words. Ooh. Oh, no, flashback. When it goes white like that, I'm like, ooh, CG? No, it's flashback. Thank you for all of your delicious meals. Thank you for always offering such wonderful words to me. This book is filled with love, so I think it's the perfect fit for someone as kind as you. It's no longer the past I'm clinging to. It's the time I spend with you now that makes me the happiest. Mathis is timid and shy, but he was kinder than anyone else and shared his smiles with me. And because of that, I was able to like myself a little after hating myself for so long. As his breath caught in his throat, Mathis let me go. He immediately picked up the papers to throw them onto the ground. Didn't he already just throw them? Ugh, damn it! He had paused for some reason, his face twisted in pain, as if he wanted to throw them all away, but couldn't. Yeah, because somewhere inside little timid Mathis exists. We know that from, that ending, but... Mathis, where are you going? To ask around town. I'll be back tonight. Then I'll come with... I don't need you. Don't follow me. You can sit here in the memories of that weak and useless, mathless Claude. After placing the papers on the desk, Mathis went down the steps and out of the attic. But here's the thing. Are we never going to get captured by Jean? Again, maybe it's because they're going to do the ending completely different, and instead of now we're back in the science lab and being experimented on by crazy-ass Camille, we won't go that way, and that's fine, but it's one of those, if that's the way it's going to go, could we, because that took a while, you know what I mean? And then it's you've got 10 hours, and again, because I talk a lot, but you know what I mean? It's I don't know if these needed to be as long, you're padding out the runtime of the game, but it's interesting, but at the same time, I'm still debating how I feel. I'm not 100% sure I'm, here with it, you know? I don't know. How utterly annoying. Yet at the same time, I didn't get it. Why is it that I feel this way toward my own self? I feel hatred so strong, it makes me want to kill him. I've never seen that look on her before. The current me couldn't write an exciting novel, or even make her smile. She stays by my side in order to get back the weaker me from the past. When she does, there'll be no need for the current me. That's what I wonder. Getting these little insights and little additions, that's so sad. All the memories I had of our time together were screaming at me. Oh, it's crowded here. Why don't you watch where you're going? The guy who bumped into my shoulder suddenly gave me attitude. Shut up. My rage against everything exploded right there. Huh? What are you? I grabbed him by the shoulder, made a fist. Ah! And letting my rage take over, punched him in the cheek with every bit of strength I had. Ah! Is that a fight going on over there? A crowd gathered around me as the man spat up blood and fell. There weren't only ordinary citizens there. You there! What are you doing? How dare you do something like this knowing we're on patrol here? Two Royal Guard soldiers rushed toward me, and I knew I couldn't fight them unarmed. Assuming I could survive a night of detention, I put my hands up in a gesture of surrender. I don't remember him getting arrested either, you know what I mean? So adding little bits and things like that, again, it's interesting and I'm not here for it, but at the same time, I still question it. I haven't quite figured out how I feel about it. And again, it could be because if I started with Lucas or Eve or somebody else, maybe I would have been like, oh, okay. And then you do Mathis and you're fine. But starting with Mathis is like, eh. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for Mathis stands. I really am. He's not a bad character. It's just as a love interest, he doesn't captivate me like that. So starting off doing this first, I think makes more doubts and questions and like, come into play than I think it would if I played him somewhere in the middle. Would have been like, yeah, okay, whatever. We're doing Mathis Rod, it's fine. You know, where starting off, it just feels a little, I hate to say boring. I hate to say that. Like, I'm a little like, okay, we're here and we're doing this, but I'm not as captivated with it as I feel like I want to be right off the bat for the first couple hours of the game. You know? So, and I think that's a me problem. I really do. You know what I mean? Just because, again, Mathis isn't my favorite. So if I started with Cyan or something, I would have been like, captivated right off the bat. I don't even give a shit if we're repeating the same damn shit. So I realize that that's a me thought process, but it's just hard to get around that. I don't know. Yes, I see. I apologize deeply for the trouble my master has caused. The transmitter in the mansion suddenly rang, and after finishing the conversation, Jean gave a heavy sigh as he faced me. The master was found. It seems he's been captured by the royal guard for an act of violence on someone in the Cheetahs Marsh. At the moment, he's detained in a cell. Which is what Jean wants to do anyway. What? I couldn't help but exclaim at the news I was given. Violence? Why would he do such a thing? It appears it was because he bumped shoulders with someone. I assume he may have been particularly irritable at the time. That might very well have been because I let him go while he was still angry. Fortunately, the other party involved suffered only minor injuries. I can pay for his release tonight. So please, there's nothing you need to worry about. But if I'd only been by Mathis's side, I'm sure you would have been involved in the fight as well. The change in his personality is certainly a troublesome condition. But the one burdened with the responsibility of his actions is none other than the master. I don't feel you have to force that burden onto yourself. That may be true. Just then the transmitter rang again, just as Jean was about to put it away. I wonder what that could be. Perhaps something happened to the master again. Yes, this is the Claude residence. Jean answered as if he had a headache. I'm sorry, I don't know why that's so funny. Jean answered it as if he had a headache. And you know, okay, you can picture it and you're like, looking at him, all right, he's just like, sweet Jesus. Mathis is just getting out of hand. Because, we're going to take it step by step. First step, surface level. He's the Claude family butler. Shh, nothing else right now, okay? Just the Claude family butler. Having a master who's out there on some kind of a violence bender who's literally snapped mentally has got to be exhausting. You know, you're looking at it like, man, and John being like, oh, dear God, what the fuck, right? Absolutely. And then you go the next level deep, which is Camille pretending to be the butler, right? Knowing his experiments running amok out there and is like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ, I gotta act like this proper butler, and then I gotta go rescue him, and I want to just bitch slap this little motherfucker, and like, how dare he? And he's just frustrated about everything out, like, just one line carries so much funny weight to it, you know what I mean? There's just so much in that one line. Okay, see, now we're having a good time. Oh my God. See, we just need more moments like that where you're like, it's funny for a lot of things, you know? But what came through the other end wasn't the voice of a Royal Guard member. Oh, Jean, spacey around. Eve! I believe we haven't spoken since the search last night. And did you need the master as well? Yeah, I was about to go see Cyan and ask him about Boros relivers. I was wondering if she and Mathis wanted to come. Are they busy? I felt it was a good suggestion, but well, Mathis is a bit preoccupied right now, so we won't be able to go to Cernival right away. You can go see Cyan yourselves, and I was about to finish telling him to go on without us. No, please. I implore you to meet with Eve and go with them. Please leave the master to me. I'll have him back before the day is over. Huh? But he's like, get the fuck out so I can hook him up in the basement. I can't handle both of you at the same time. Jean covered the transmitter so his voice couldn't be heard through it. Neve's like, it's not working. I'm sure it would be awkward to meet with him after what we just heard. You can call me through the transmitter if you find out anything in particular. I sat in thought in a moment as he replied with an awkward smile. All right, if anything happens on your end too, please contact me through Eve's transmitter at any time. Understood. Please give Monsieur Brophy's my regards as well. That's shady. You know he doesn't mean it. I offered my gratitude over and over to Jean for being considerate of me, and replied to Eve that I'd come along. It's so funny because Jean is not being considerate of you. He's being considerate of himself. He's like, I have to get my fucking experiment back, hook him up in the motherfucking basement, maybe dump some other personalities. You're going to come back. He's going to be a whole other motherfucking person. Or you're going to come back. I'm going to knock you out, drag you into the basement too, and see what happens. But I can't wrangle both you chuckle fucks. That's what I feel like is happening here, you know? I left the mansion, heading for Cernaval, where he was waiting for me. However, right as we reached the Institute, I saw the sight of a bloodthirsty mob crowded in front of the building. Everyone, please no pushing! I need y'all to calm the heck down! Aw, Dot. Our little psychopath! Best twist ever. Listen. Fucking genius. Psycho to the end. But you know what? You made us love you so much that when you flip that psycho switch, you're like, I ain't mad about it. This is great. Love it. Our favorite little side character psychopath. Seriously. One at a time. Please follow me. We need to check your pledges before you can enter. I have my pledge right here. Hurry and check it. What the? Why, hello, you two. As you can see, the Institute seems to be in chaos, so perhaps it's best you return another day. Lucas. What's going on here? I never expected for a crowd this big to be gathered. If this keeps up, there's no telling when they'll be arrested by the Royal Guard. I said that to the crowd as well, but they don't seem to want to listen. Something about the Institute's server. It seems a portion of the memory data used to transition into clone bodies was stolen. By Jean. Right, okay, yeah, we know this. Huh? Wait, not their device is being broken. Someone actually snuck in and stole the backup data. Someone did indeed, which is why the people have formed such an angry crowd today. According to Lucas, a certain man came to the Institute to fill out the required papers for his family to become relivers. It was then one of the researchers found out their memory data went missing. This was something that had never happened before, so the chaos that ensued wasn't surprising. They then went into full investigation to discover something they didn't expect. Not only did they lose a large amount of backup data, but it was also replaced with fake data. It became clear then that the data must have been stolen. And I can't remember, though, because, like, Jean obviously has it and his supporters or whatever. Was Dahut his supporter? Was it Capucine? I thought Dahut was also supporting Capucine, like, secretly and, like, whatever. But, like, it wouldn't... I don't remember if it was, like, a chain. Dahut's doing shit for Capucine, and Capucine is doing shit for, like, Jean, or, like, Dahut's involved with both of them. You know what I mean? Because, like... I can't quite remember the chain that happened there. Because, like, Dahut obviously undermining everything because he wants to bring his mother back. You know. Even though, technically, isn't that Salome? Like, wasn't she his mother? Like, or was that just my wishful thinking and then that's why I've got that stuck in my head now? Like, I don't remember. Oh, dear God. But, yes, I can't quite remember who was linked to who, but rumors immediately spread, which led to the crowd of people trying to find their way inside for answers. What the hell are you guys doing? We worked our asses off to save money to become relivers. I mean, to be fair to these people, I'd be pissed too, you know? I can get hit by the curse at any moment, so you guys need to hurry and restore my backup data. My friend didn't make it in time because of what happened. He had plans for his reliver life. After Boro killed his brother, Karun killed Boro. He was finally going to live a peaceful life without hatred.
Yikes! Well, that's right, they're gonna end up trampling Dawhood and the rest. Sorry, Spacey, you mind if I help him out?
Go ahead. I feel like this seems familiar too, but again, I don't remember if it was in this particular ending or later, but I mean, like, this scenario happened before. Probably in this ending because Jean has it all. But, so this scene is somewhat familiar, but again, I don't remember if it's just because it happened somewhere else, so whatever. Let me help too. You should stand back so you're not in harm's way. Hearing that the memory data was stolen doesn't feel real at all. In addition, it sounded like the genetic component of the backup data wasn't stolen. Why did this person steal only the memory? We know. Maybe they want to read the records of someone's past.
Isn't it obvious that what you said is impossible?
Oh, there's my sexy son of a bitch. Ugh. God. I would do anything for this motherfucker. Jesus. Cyan? How long had he been there?
What?
You look like you've seen a ghost. I mean, you died like 80 fucking years ago, technically, so kinda. Listen, Grandpa.
I remind you that you are the one who asked to see me today.
That's why I'm surprised to see you here, Cyan. Aren't you going to do something about the commotion?
I don't care. It's the stupid royal family's fault for tampering with security a year ago.
Oh, God, I missed your fucking attitude. Oh, just no fucks given whatsoever. And I forgot, like, you're out here and be right, nobody knows what you look like. So, I forgot about that.
They tried to force their way through the system to find something to use against me. So I have no reason to cover them for their pathetic attempt to beat me.
Well, now that you put it that way, it made sense. It was the royal family's fault, which was why the royal guard was noticeably absent. Seeing that I understood what he said, Cyan began to speak more about the situation, probably out of boredom.
Just looking at what memory means as a word impresses a certain concept. Most people will probably see memories as some kind of book that they can go through whenever they want. But that's an incorrect concept.
There was no words or pictures. Stored in the Institute's server were enormous amounts of memories formulated into matrices of ones and zeros. What that meant was the memories weren't stored as words or imagery. Only clones into which the proper data was downloaded could read and decipher them into memories. But the genetic data that was needed along with the memory data wasn't stolen for some reason. Does that mean that there's nothing to gain from the stolen data? If I recall correctly, downloading data that doesn't match the clone body will only cause bugs that could ruin the brain.
That would be the case if it were downloaded into a normal clone.
Just as Cyan opened his mouth to continue, we saw the others coming back to us, with the commotion seemingly calmed down. Back to his messy little office. After that, Lucas left us, and we were guided into Cyan's laboratory.
The Institute has total ownership over reliver technology. This will never change. I won't allow it. That said, assuming Boro did revive as a reliver, it would mean an Institute employee, past or present, is involved.
Capucine. Because we know he was the past. Actually, that's true, right? Capucine just changed himself. He was Orty. Whatever. But also, Salome was in charge of, whatever his, Capucine's little religious organization that he runs or whatever. What the fuck one? I forget what it's called. Didn't she oversee it at some point? And then, like, he killed her and he thinks she's dead, but she's really actually not, because now she's in Salome's body and she's like... Right? Well, she's in the Salome body. It's her body. But, like, you know what I mean? Because the whole thing that Capucine's doing is you can alter your appearance and everything, too. That's why nobody notices when they see Capucine that he's Orty, because he looks nothing like him. You know what would be fun? When we go back in time, if we're doing the Drifter story and we go back in time, are we going to get to see like everybody that was around then? You know what I mean? Are we going to go back and see? Well, you'd see Cyan looking like Cyan back in the day, 100 years ago. But like, it'd be fun to see like Orty and all the people who were around that. You know what I mean? You'd be like, that's Capucine, but Orty, but Capucine, but same person. You know what I mean? It'd be kind of fun. Be kind of interesting. Anyway.
Odds are likely that they stole obsolete models of my devices and are abusing them for their own ends. Would you have any idea who might have done that?
Yeah, because this is a very familiar scene.
From opposing factions to the royal family who sees me as their sworn enemy, and there are too many to single out one in particular. If only I had more clues.
Speaking of clues, could the Deliverer be involved since he might be connected with Boro?
Well, I just wish we had some new information about him other than the ritual.
New information? Oh, that's right! Along with her, plenty of other girls were talking about becoming happy with the children they were carrying. Some of the women who have gone missing were pregnant? Yes, but not the girl with the black hair. Now that I think about it. A lot of girls who tried out the ritual weren't able to make money during the time that they were pregnant. Someone at a bar testified that a lot of the missing women were pregnant. I murmured my comment, not really even thinking about it. Pregnant? Cyan stopped. After standing in silence, thinking for a few seconds, he manipulated a screen in his hand with incredible speed, reading all the words that it displayed at a tremendous speed.
I see. So that's it. It appears it's highly probable that the one who stole the memory data is this Deliverer.
Huh? Stole the memory data?
The cause of all that commotion just now, does it have something to do with the Deliverer?
He literally just said that, you chucklefucks. Idiots.
Most certainly. To be precise, the Deliverer is the only person who would have use for the stolen memories. Maiden of Death, do you remember what I told you about memory data?
Yes, that any stolen memory data would be useless if downloaded into a clone of a different person, right?
And that's if you downloaded it into a regular clone.
As we wondered what he was talking about, Cyan displayed an image and began to explain it.
I take it that you've heard of a prenatal education.
Right, because I remember this conversation too. Yes, like how a pregnant woman might play music or tell stories for the fetus to listen to. I heard those kinds of things can affect the baby's personality and even their memory.
Exactly. And this suggests downloading memory data into cells as part of its prenatal education before life is fully formed.
Prenatal education, knowledge to assist parents in raising their newborn, as well as methods to help the baby in utero. This may include reading books or playing music to help stimulate the brain development of fetuses. I feel like we read that exact glossary term, too. So you're saying it's possible to have a baby born with someone else's memory?
Indeed, but only a very small portion, which won't last long.
He explained that the person's body and mind would notice the memory didn't match the body genetically.
None of the researchers, myself included, have proved that concept in reality. Compared to the effort, the gain's practically nothing. And there'd be no merit in performing an experiment so worthless when all it would do is draw attention and put me at risk.
But see, this is where science says something like, oh, well, no, like, what would happen? So, yeah, the baby would remember, and then all of a sudden it would get faulty and act like it's janky, and it's a whole, and like split personalities, and we'd be like, kind of like Mathis. And then it would be like, ding, 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 and then we go down a different fucking path toward an ending. Now, that is really how they could have done this. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe they are gonna, but...
Well, that's what I was thinking until just now.
Cyan shrugged his shoulders and continued.
There are these particular cells, embryonic cells, which reside in a woman's uterus in the cell mass of a blastocyte.
Blastocyst? Blastocyst? Cyst? Yeah, blastocyst, whatever. He went on to explain... My brain can't word right now. He went on to explain that cells in that state could have the memories of someone else downloaded into them.
These people who have memories forcefully downloaded into them are artificial beings created from nothing. In other words, a homunculus.
I don't know if he explained directly all of this I know, I remember all the baby talk and all that, but I don't know if he mentioned this, but I mean, like, my brain wants to be like, yes, because we know Mathis is a homunculus, but I don't know if Jean was the one who gave us that explanation. But homunculus? A sharp chill ran down my back. After hearing his explanation, I suddenly had a guess as to what he was trying to say.
The people who are being targeted are women with a high possibility of being pregnant, which means
the deliverer's trying to make a homunculus with embryonic cells? I struggled to speak as I felt my face go pale, and Cyan quietly nodded. To put it simply,
he cuts open these pregnant women, taking out the embryonic cells for his use.
I thought as much. Being able to escape this country was just a fantasy.
Homunculi don't last long, but you can give them false memories by combining memory data and downloading it into them. Around 2 years ago, an unfamiliar person approached me to request the reconstruction of memory data without a backup. So if we follow that trail and find anyone suspicious along the way, we'll find this deliverer. A handwriting analysis between our visitor log and the archive should take no more than 2 days.
We'll be dead by then. Well, not really, but...
Got it. We'll continue our investigation, too.
Knowing what became of those pregnant women filled my chest with pain, but it was the right idea to come talk to Cyan.
Yeah, let's share this information with Adolphe and Jean, too.
I don't know if sharing it with Jean sounds like a good idea. It was already dark out when we left the Institute. After parting with Cyan, we quickly shared the information we had with Adolphe over the transmitter. And after that, we shared the exact same report with Jean, and he's like, fuck. Maybe we did have these conversations, and then we did talk to Jean, and that's what causes him to push up his experimenting on us. I see. That is indeed valuable information. It's funny knowing what we know about the ends. Once I'm finished with the paperwork to recover the master, I will tell him of this as well. Thank you very much. Finishing our conversation, I gave the transmitter back to Eve. We proceeded to discuss meeting up with Adolphe and the others when... Oh wait, Maiden of Death. You're working for the Claude family, right? I turned around to Cyan stop me. I want you to relay a message to that butler, word for word. To Jean? Of course. What do you want to say to him? I warned you. I know you still have that camera. Return it while you still can. Camera? Was he referring to the camera Jean carried with him at all times? Or camera up with him all the time, sorry. Did you lend it to Jean by chance? I didn't recall him ever saying so before. The way you phrased your message makes it sound like Jean stole it from you. As it happens, the camera currently in his possession was stolen from the Institute a few years ago. I couldn't absorb the many shocking revelations he shared with me. He said it was stolen, but Jean said before that he got that camera through connections. I feel like you... I don't know. I don't remember. I know the whole thing with the camera came up, and, like, I feel like we've had this conversation with him before, like, you know, whatever. And I don't know if I made the same questiony thought process, whatever. Is like, at this moment, it feels like Cyan's formulating some thought processes up in here, or has already made a connection and been like, huh, Jean stole my camera, and yeah, he's sus as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, because Cyan's not stupid. He's probably the smartest person in this whole fucking joint, right? So, like, I feel like if he's like, oh yeah, no, I know that camera, he stole it, and now he's, like, formulating, like, thinking at some point before, like, he stole that camera, huh, whatever. And now, with all the and everything still, he's just, like, something in his brain. That little hamster is running at full speed, you know what I mean? Perhaps his camera just looks similar to the one that was stolen. Cyan said that it wasn't possible. He explained that cameras were extremely valuable and the inventory was tightly controlled by the Institute. So apparently, even prominent figures from Cheetahs weren't allowed to own cameras. He was curious as to how Jean actually had a photograph, so he searched the rental records. Ah! Right, because the photograph of his girlfriend, he's like, how the fuck do you have a photograph? And she's got her eyes closed because he's like, oh, before, but I'm wondering if he took it after she died, you know? He discovered that the records were tampered with and that one camera went missing a while back. Camera, a very rare item in Arpachel. The Institute controls the few that exist and rents them out when necessary. Which, again, I don't know if I made this observation in the first one. I'm sure I had to have, because, like, hi. But, like, you can create clones of people and download their brains into their clone bot and all this, but you can't make, like, cameras? Like, cameras is like a... Or, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody out there inventing cameras? I guess it's one of those, like, we only have so many people in this country. You only live for so fucking long. And when you become a scientist or an inventor or anybody that's got a brain for technology like that, fuck you, you're working at the research institute and, like, making cameras or doing other kind of technology is like, nah, not worth your time. But it just seems really weird that we have cameras, but, like, I don't know, the institute and you can rent one, but oh, no. Like, you just think it would be, like, easy to just kind of produce multiple you know what I mean? Like, we got the technology to make clones and dump brains into clones, but you can't make cameras? Like, more common? Weird shit, but then we're not supposed to get wrapped up in the science or the illogical logic that goes on here, so.
What are you doing, buddy?
It can't be. But why? Why was Jean lying? Why indeed? Woo! Man in question. Don't bite me, jerkface. You're being mean. I don't want to pet you. You're going to bite me. No! No! I anxiously look down at the homunculus sleeping in front of me. He knows about the homunculus. With cyan brophies on my tail, they'll find out I'm the culprit soon. Just as I'm finally ready to bring back Rosalie with all their feelings intact. I punched the wall to let out some of my anger. I obviously remember being trapped in the basement with him. I don't remember if we told him about the homunculus thing and if that exactly happened and then we talked to Jean or if this is just an addition. I can't quite recall that. Then, as if waiting for me, I'm not sure. I cannot remember who this was, but like, hello there. You seem quite frustrated, my dear supporter. I heard the voice of the mad scientist who was almost mistaken for the deliverer the other day. Oh, it is Capucine. Okay. All right. I couldn't remember. Okay. And I don't know if they ever. Well, they might have told us that at some point, but I don't remember if they told us that in the round. And again, that's one thing I forgot. Capucine, what do you want? I hope you didn't call me just to laugh at me. Of course not. If you're caught, it would halt the research on artificially constructed memories, which would be a deadly blow to me. So with that said, I've come up with a means to save you and my supporter, who had stayed silent until recently. What? It wasn't as if I blindly trusted this man, but I was desperate for whatever help I could get for Rosalie's revival. I decided to stay quiet and listen to what he had to say. It's simple. We need to capture the deliverer before you're wanted for anything. Huh? What are you talking about? I'm the deliverer. You're just asking me to be captured. It seems your love has made you blind to the wonderful research you yourself have been conducting. Essentially, you need only create the true deliverer with your very own hands. The materials you need are already at your disposal, after all. I knew it without even being able to see him. His face must have been twisted in a wicked smile. Yes, kind of, sort of. Spacey, want to see you. Where are you? Come find us. I want to laugh with you again. I don't think we found out that Capucine. I mean, probably if you had the voice acting on, I think there was calls between him, or there might have just been messages. Maybe there wasn't an actual like spoken line or anything. But I don't think in a Mathis's original route they would have told you, because Mathis's route is the one you do first, and I don't think they would have revealed Capucine being as evil as he was right then and there. You know what I mean? They kind of had to build that up a little, you know? I mean, you knew Capucine was a psychopath when you got to Lucas's route. So maybe we did already know Capucine was like, I mean, I think you already knew he was trash from the very beginning, but I don't know the level of trash that we knew he was. You know what I mean? Did we know he was working with Jean in Mathis's route? I don't think it was quite that. I don't think we got that. But if they had a secret, like a conversation, you would have heard the voice acting maybe. But I don't think that they straight up showed him. I can't quite remember, but. And there's no reason for them not to now because you would have already played the first game, you know? And remembered. I stood there, taken aback at the truth that Jean had stolen the camera when.
Sounds like there's a commotion over in Cheetahs.
As Eve was talking with Dahut, a loud buzzing came from Eve's chest. Is something the matter, Eve?
That's an emergency signal from Adolphe. I'll raise the volume so we can all hear.
Both of you, if you're still in Cernaval, hurry up and get over here. The body of a prostitute was found in Cheetahs. Right, okay, so, alright. I'm like, really that fast? But I guess it's all happening in, well, not really in tandem. That seems a little, like the turnaround's too fast, because we called, told everyone what happened, and as we're having the other conversation with... Well, because we called, told everyone what happened, then Cyan was like, hey, tell Jean that I want my motherfucking camera back, and we're having that conversation as Jean's having the conversation with Capucine, and then he's going to create a deliverer who's then going to go out, murder and whatever, and then it just seems a lot, it's way too, the time is not working out right. You know what I mean? Like, where did you get a body? You could dump a murderer into any old person, but you'd have to grab someone off the street. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't matter if they fall apart, right? Because everyone's going to, they're going to go mad, whatever, they'll kill them, and they'll be like, oh shit, you know what I mean? But you don't have time to grow a homunculus, you know what I mean? You don't have time to grab someone, dump a murderer's brain, and have him go out, kill a prostitute, in the time that literally we were talking to Cyan about the camera, while then you're talking about doing this, and then now all of a sudden we're doing, you know what I mean? Seems like the time jump happened and it was like, I don't know if I buy the time parallel going on here, but whatever, anyway. And it's like some residents around here saw someone running away who might be the culprit. Oh, and it sounds like some residents are, sorry. Huh? The prostitutes weren't missing but killed? And this isn't near the shore. It's completely different from what I heard about the ritual. As we stood in our surprise, Hugo gave us details of where the incident occurred. Right, because Dahut over there, that doesn't sound like the actual deliverer, even though he's the high level involved with all this shit, which is funny as shit. But that's also how you keep him not being sus.
It's close to here. Karoon, Maiden. Oh, Karoon, Maiden. I'm sure both of you are heading there. I can lend you the Institute's car if you're in a hurry. I'll even provide a driver. In exchange, if you capture the deliverer, bring him to me. I have a great deal of questions to ask him.
He probably had everything ready from the beginning as a car rolled out from behind the Institute and stopped in front of us. Cyan's just that magical. He's such a magical girl. The driver's window rolled down. It was the driver who almost ran into Jean at the back of the marsh in Cheetahs. I'm very sorry about last time. I will promise you a safe and fast journey to wherever you want. I nodded in response, then hurried into the car. I closed the door, and immediately the driver revved the engine. Let's get going. Just make sure you don't bite your tongue on the way. Before I could say anything, what appeared to be the most advanced model of electric car owned by the Institute sped off so quickly that it could kill anyone who got in the way. Which, so I'm assuming this guy's a reliver and this is the. I don't know if we made the connection in the other one, because I mean, once we figured out Mathis had all the brains dumped into him, like this is his driving right here, this guy. You know it 100% is. And I don't know if, because you had him driving crazy, whatever, and you obviously met this character in the common route, whatever, but I don't know if when we got to he's a homunculus and he's dumping people into him, if we went, oh, so like the driver from the Institute that almost hit Jean that's driving like a lunatic is actually how Mathis's driving skills came to be. That's where he got it from. I don't know if I made that connection in the first one, but if not, here you go. You know? Sped up so quick. Okay, I read that. Yikes! I never expected to see another driver similar to Mathis, unless we had this scene happen and then they said that and then maybe would have figured it out, but I don't think similar is the right word to use. It was as though Mathis himself was at the wheel. And again, unless we had the same conversation and then later when we realized he was a homunculus, it was like, oh, because they pointed it out. I don't know. Oh, I know we're in a hurry, but can you please slow down? Please don't talk to me. I need to focus. His style of speech sounded familiar as well. It was just like how Mathis sounded when he went to get Jean. Right as he got the car running, his eyes and personality changed. This was way too similar to a certain someone I knew. She's making the connections now. Fortunately, no one was hit during the drive, and we quickly found ourselves at a corner in Cheetahs. Okay. I'm gonna meet up with Adolphe and the others. You stay here in the car and wait. Right. Please be careful. I quietly looked on as Eve left. The nearby residents looked bewildered by Boro's unexpected return, and the Corps directed them back inside their homes. It seemed like things were fairly under control, especially considering the urgency of the transmitter message earlier, but in the next instant, a familiar young boy was going against the flow of people and headed into one of the alleys. Isn't he? A familiar young boy. We didn't need the flashback. No, sis! That's also not the line he had. That wasn't his line. But we didn't need the flashback. A familiar young boy, and then we flashback. Oh, it's the... He's flashback 32 times. Okay, it's only been like twice. But also, that wasn't the line that he had. I mean, he's... No, sis! But it was done differently. The commas and the punctuations and everything were different in there. So, like, interesting. But it's that kid anyway. He was with the woman killed by Boro. Where are you going? Shut it, Original Mathis. I quickly got out of the car to give chase. The alley was dark and maze-like, making it difficult to see ahead. Wait, isn't this how I get... Right, did this happen? Where we were there... I don't remember... Well, I mean, I don't think we would have had Jean and Capucine having a conversation. Because though we didn't know that Jean was the antagonist in this route at that point. You know what I mean? But I'm wondering, did we have this where another prostitute was killed and we're like, huh? And then we run off because isn't this how Jean gets us? Because if I was at the Claude mansion, he'd be like, I don't know, she went somewhere, but like it would look suspicious, but knocking us out and dragging us back from a dark alley, everyone's like, she ran off and now she's gone, and he would never be suspected at all. You know what I mean? So I feel like this seems familiar, but still, I followed the alleys, desperately trying to find the boy. He must be trying to find the killer to avenge his sister. I was sure the woman with the black hair who died wouldn't want him to be in any harm either. Trying to find the boy, I walked into an alley that seemed to be empty. Seemed. A bad feeling turned into a cold sweat that clung to my back and refused to let go. It's all right. I'll be fine. Doubt it. I didn't even realize I didn't even realize I had stopped. Duh. Wow. The sound coming from beyond the corner was something I'd heard so many times as death. My throat burned. My brain was raising alarms for me to turn back right this instant. But I still hadn't found the person I was looking for. Fuck that kid! I had to save that boy. No, fuck that kid! It was as if I heard someone whisper that to me. You have to save the boy. Fuck that kid! I gathered my courage and turned the corner. Ah! Immediately around the corner, my legs bumped into something. It was the boy, sitting on the ground, unable to stand from fear. He was all right, but before I could breathe a sigh of relief, I feel like... A stream of red stained his clothes. The spray of warm liquid was coming from the body of a human that was alive just moments ago. I feel like this seems familiar too. But then again, how many times have we wandered into alleys with people getting stabbed in the main game? So, fair. Several organs were spilling from the open stomach of the corpse lying on the ground. And that sounds fun. Thanks. And beside it, I saw a shadow. The ghostly shadow shone a small red light through the darkness. Jesus. And the figure before me that was drenched in red was... I feel like it's going to be Mathis, right? Ah, it feels so good. Why does the sensation of cutting open a woman's stomach feel so good? Or maybe not. Because, I don't remember, if you're faking out a deliver, why would you make it Mathis? But then again... turning Mathis into it, I don't know. I'd question that. I don't think that happened in the original game, but I'm not sure. So we'll just say, no matter how many times I kill someone, it's never enough. With a look of ecstasy on his face, he held up what he took out of the woman as if it were some sort of treasure. Gross. No, it is Mathis. Okay. This is a new sprite. I don't think we got Mathis in a shroud like this. Still being all delicate. It looks ridiculous. Not in a bad way, but you know what I mean? This is the shy, awkward, oh, hey, Mathis. And he's dressed in this dark shroud after stabbing someone brutally to death and ripping out their guts. So I want to kill more women. Their soft stomachs. I want to rip them all open. Yeah, this is definitely different. We did not have this. Okay. But I get what happened, so... Jean used his homunculus to, put a murderer in because his research, the only reason he had Mathis was to get his research to bring Rosalie back. So, you know what I mean? And if his research is almost complete or whatever, then hey, chuck him out. Plus also, you could very well, he's got all the other equipment and stuff like that. He might have a, like a cloning machine. We don't know. I don't know if they ever specifically said, because he keeps dumping memories into this existing Mathis, but he could have cloned Mathis and then sent the clone out there, you know what I mean? And been like, well, my homunculus will never be set free again, Or Capucine was like, bring him here and we'll do it, Did we find a secret pathway? But I doubt that, but there's secret pathways all over this damn city. I want to rip them all open. Yes, just like the stomachs of a pretty girl like you. Or the stomach of a pretty girl like you. Also, we only got one CG in this ending? Is this a whole new chapter 4 now? I feel like there's going to be a whole new chapter 4. How? Are there only 3 and 4 chapters in this? Because, I'm just saying. I don't know. They're very long. I have a question to you, readers. What sort of story do you think this is? Not a happy one, from what I understand. One of pure love, crazed love, or a tragedy that cannot be saved? The answer is none of them. This is the story of a certain man's victory. Jean's victory? Because it feels like it's Jean's victory. Or Dahut. Or Capucine. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's Mathis's victory. All I'm saying. We are a little under time. But I will stop here. And I just heard voices, and I don't know if it was in the game. I don't think so. Or like outside my window. Like that was just bizarre. I was like, okay, that was freaky. Anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.